Girl, he never gave me no damn earrings. He probably gave us to Jennifer.
Jennifer Hudson has lived through heartbreaks most people can't imagine. Pain so deep, it reshaped her life. Just when it seemed she had finally found love, trust, and peace, everything began to crumble before her eyes. To Jennifer, Common wasn't just another man. He spoke of healing, of growth, of forever. He made her believe love could feel safe again. But sometimes the sweetest words come from the ones who hurt us most. Behind the spotlight, whispers began to rise about what truly went wrong, and soon it was clear. Even Jennifer Hudson wasn't safe from heartbreak. This wasn't just another Hollywood love story fading away. It was deeper, heavier, more tragic. Because long before Common, Jennifer had already endured losses that would break most souls. To the world, she looked unstoppable, winning awards, commanding stages, building her name. But behind the fame, her story carried a wound no one could truly see.
Do what's good for me and the lady. You know, right now all I want is happiness, good times, peace on earth.
In 2008, Jennifer Hudson's world shattered. Her mother, brother, and young nephew were all taken in one tragic moment that could have broken her forever. But Jennifer refused to disappear. She turned her grief into power, pouring it into her music, her films, and every step she took. Soon after, she built a long relationship with David Otunga. From the outside, it looked steady. They shared a son, planned a life, but behind closed doors, Jennifer described jealousy, control, and a storm that forced her to seek the court's protection. To the world, it was just another headline. For Jennifer, it was survival. She kept working, pushing, proving her strength, even as healing felt out of reach. Love for her became something to fear, not chase. So when whispers began tying her to Common, people listened. Because this time, the story felt different. This time, it felt like hope.
And still kicking it. That's part one. And part two is, do you ever see yourself married one day?
So as far as Jenny Jen,
I love Jenny.
Absolutely, we are together, and I just appreciate her as a partner, as a woman, as an artist, as a human being. She's a special individual, man, it's just I'm just grateful for it. I thank God, and yes, we are good. Marriage is something that if I were to get married, then Jennifer is the person.
Oh, she the prototype?
She is but she's not only the prototype, she is the person.
Yeah.
But that being said, you know, it's one of those things where I'm like always looking at my life and saying, okay, because that's a strong choice to make, you know.
Absolutely. Not to be taken lightly.
Whispers began to spread. Jennifer Hudson and Common weren't just co-stars in the film Breathe. The rumors carried hope, not gossip. People wanted to believe she had finally found someone who saw her heart, not just her fame. Someone strong enough to share her pain, yet gentle enough to embrace her joy. This wasn't another rebound. It felt like a choice. Her smile seemed softer, her laughter unforced. No spotlight, no stage, just quiet moments of a guarded heart daring to open. Jennifer doesn't rush into love, and she doesn't trust easily. So when she let him in, the world noticed. If she was ready to risk her heart again, maybe it was real. And Common? He appeared almost perfect. Grounded, creative, open about therapy and meditation. A man of growth. Admirers called him steady and sincere. Yet those who had followed his past knew the patterns were always there, lingering.
We both have professions. Well, I think once Tiffany and I got back on the move, it really didn't allow for us to spend as much time and put as much energy into our relationship. I don't think the love really dispersed. I just think it was just like we weren't feeding the relationship. And as you said, neither one of us is gonna stop. Like we both care about our crafts and what we do. And we care about love too and partnership, but I think, you know, the energy that has been put into our careers and continuing to want to do the things that we do for ourselves and for the people. It's like, it was hard for me to balance all of that and keep the relationship.
Common's past is filled with powerful women, each leaving a mark on his story. Angela Rye, Tiffany Haddish, Serena Williams, Ava DuVernay, Taraji P. Henson, even Erykah Badu. All strong, accomplished, unforgettable in their own right. For a time, they stood beside him, admired him, laughed with him. But one by one, they slipped away. The pattern was always the same. A spark at the start, glowing red carpets, undeniable chemistry. Then, familiar endings. Polite words, vague reasons. Partings wrapped in elegance but waited in silence. It became a rhythm too sharp to ignore. Each new chapter began with hope, but the headlines always returned, quiet and predictable. And with Jennifer Hudson, fans prayed for something lasting. Could this finally be different? Could this be the love that survived? Just as the world started to believe, everything changed.
The other tea a little later.
Yeah.
What?
You're not ready?
You get cut off and you motherfuckers brought the tea.
Common opened up in a revealing interview, and his words quickly set off whispers. To some, he sounded like a man addicted to the spark of fresh love, the rush, the thrill, the early chase, but not the staying power when things got real. He spoke of therapy, of working on himself, but many weren't convinced. Growth isn't just talk, it's action. And when Jennifer stepped into his world, that old reputation was already waiting for her. His charm was undeniable, the romance visible. Yet doubt never left the room. People wondered, if things hadn't lasted with Serena, Taraji, or Tiffany, why would this be different? Still, on the set of Breathe, Jennifer and Common looked natural. To some, it was love reborn. To others, it was just another chapter in a familiar story. Observers noticed the ease between them, the laughter, the quiet gestures that felt real, not staged. On red carpets, in interviews, even during nights in Chicago and New York, their bond looked steady. This wasn't a fling. It wasn't a stunt. It looked like two scarred souls choosing peace over chaos. No flashy Instagram posts, no staged headlines, just something private, something steady. For Jennifer, trust seemed to return piece by piece. For Common, it looked like redemption. He even called their bond a blessing, speaking of growth and love like a man who'd finally found his place. Jennifer seemed lighter, more present, as if this love gave her room to breathe. For a while, it felt like she'd found someone who matched her heart, not just her talent. Yet beneath it all lingered the question, was this a new chapter or the same story waiting to repeat?
The work he's doing on himself will help him fulfill a lifelong dream. And you write a lot about you want to be a husband one day. You have a rather famous relationship coach.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Michelle Obama. She has definitely helped talk me through just certain moments of relationships. We had conversations, and she has given me a lot of wisdom. But one great thing that she told me as I was going through this journey was that you have to understand you're not going to get anybody that's perfect because you're not perfect. So understand that there's some certain things that you will compromise in choosing that partner. But as long as the core values, the values that are most important to you, that person, marks off on that list, then you good.
She gave you some good advice there.
That's good wisdom.
That's some really good wisdom.
At first, the change was subtle. A skipped event here, a smile that didn't shine as bright, warmth fading when the camera stopped rolling. Soon, Common walked red carpets alone, while Jennifer was nowhere in sight. That's when the whispers began. Too close to someone else. Quiet remarks behind her back, not cruel but dismissive, from a man who once called her his strength. Fans wondered, was history repeating itself? Then, the whispers flipped. Insiders claimed Common was preparing something big, a proposal. For many, it sounded like Jennifer's long-awaited fairy tale. But behind closed doors, the ending was different. Reports say Jennifer quietly turned him down. No fight, no scene, just a firm no. Not because of anger, but because she wasn't sure. Maybe she feared saying yes meant stepping back into a cycle she'd already survived. For Jennifer, who had faced heartbreak and rebuilt her life piece by piece, hesitation wasn't fear, it was wisdom. But to Common, that pause may have felt like rejection, and rejection was often where his distance began, first in silence, then in presence. Friends whispered that Jennifer pulled back too, not in anger, but to guard her peace. For her, love needed more than charm. It needed safety, consistency, and proof. Soon, cracks began to show. Even rumors of a proposal felt shaky. By then, Jennifer Hudson was thriving, her talk show rising, her music untouchable, her acting career glowing. She carried herself like a woman who had turned pain into power. Unstoppable, undeniable. Common was still respected, yes, but whispers grew louder, his films fading in impact, his music reaching fewer ears. Once a force in the industry, now the contrast between them was impossible to ignore.
Enjoying it. I'm not gonna put nothing extra on it. If he want to marry me, he can get me an apartment building.
Oh, okay. That would be, you don't want a ring, you want an apartment complex.
I'd give me a duplex, an eightplex or something. You know, when the homegirls be like, "Where your ring? I thought you was engaged. Where your ring? Where your carrots? Carrots, girl, please, I got units. Knock it off."
Insiders whispered that Common began to feel like he was living in Jennifer's shadow. No longer the leading man, but the +1. In Hollywood, where ego rules, that can cut deeper than love admits. Whispers claimed he skipped her events, stopped praising her wins, maybe not resentment, maybe quiet insecurity. The kind that shows in silence. Because sometimes, when a man says he wants a strong woman, he really means as long as she doesn't outgrow him. But Jennifer had survived too much to shrink herself. On the surface, they looked perfect. 2 stars, 2 survivors. Yet behind the smiles, the balance shifted. She was rising, he was stalling. And that's the thing about love. It doesn't always break from fights. Sometimes it fades when one soars and the other can't keep up. What the world saw as solid, insiders said was already unraveling. There was no breakup post, no podcast confession, no Instagram note. Jennifer and Common simply vanished from each other's side. In Hollywood, silence often tells the loudest story. Weeks passed. Fans searched, but answers never came. Insiders say Jennifer chose peace over uncertainty, while others believed Common pulled back when love demanded more. Jennifer had already faced unthinkable loss, heartbreak, and pain most couldn't carry. Walking away wasn't weakness, it was survival. Common, known for his words and charm, faced whispers that actions mattered more than poetry. As Jennifer's career soared, her talk show rising, her music untouchable, her roles growing, he seemed left in her shadow. And maybe that imbalance was the quiet truth. Sometimes love doesn't break in fights. It fades in silence, in timing, in growth. For Jennifer, it was protection. For Common, it may have been another chance lost. So what do you believe? Was she guarding her peace, or was he never ready?